which is
all right.
superior.
We're back, Eddie, now, so we can continue on. We have video.
Oh, I'm sorry. We were in the middle of a coffee discussion between Guatemala or somewhere in central El Salvador.
Uganda.
In Uganda, right.
So remember the time we were talking and I mentioned Milton Obote?
Oh, yep. Milton Obote, yes.
And you said, I am the first person you have encountered in this country who knew who he was.
Right.
Yeah. He was the tyrant after
Idi Amin.
Now, see, that's not such a useless degree. Where'd you go to college?
Northeastern State. And first in Tahlequah, which is just down the road.
And then?
Well, before that, I went to Christendom College in Front Royal, Virginia.
Virginia?
Yes.
And what did you get for a degree?
A useless degree.
What was it called?
Political science.
Well, there you go.
It's
folks.
useless. But don't do it.
Except you know some tyrant in Africa.
I know of several of them. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, Ted. I just have to say here, it's interesting that we speak of something that was in the international news.
Sure.
For anybody to see,
right.
But for some reason, a certain person in Oklahoma has never heard of these things because they're busy worrying about marijuana rights and things like that.
Oh, cut it out.
No, just kidding. I love to give Dave this. I don't know. Do you know how? Did we explain how we met? Or
church?
No.
I mean, you both are, I think, former Catholics, right?
Right.
Yes. Good memory.
I'm here to win you back.
All right. Yeah. No. Actually, we knew of each other, but what brought us together was a disagreement about Donald Trump. He was a Ted Cruz fan. Yeah. I was a Trump fan.
And I was a fact checker.
Early on. And he was a fact checker, but I had to check his facts. Oh. So that's how we started arguing. Mm-hmm. And now we do it like Pat and I used to do.
I don't know how he and Pat got along so well all those years.
Well, we each understood and gave each other the right to be wrong.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, so it was freedom, American freedom of speech at its best. Finest.
But what it was is I met him at Defenders of Liberty Awards.
Right.
And I come up to him, I'm talking to him. And then when he gets canceled by KFAQ,
right,
I reached out. I said, Eddie, they don't win unless you stop. Don't stop.
I actually never got canceled. I quit.
Well, okay. But they put terms on you that so limited you that it wasn't.
No. Actually, what happened, I'll just tell you what happened. I'm not averse to saying the word nigger. Mm-hmm. And I told this lady
I remember you're saying that on
well, that's and what it was, I was trying to say free the N-word was my speech. That it's like and we've talked about it here. Nerd, you used to call somebody a nerd, and until it became Revenge of the Nerds came out, the movie, and all of a sudden it was cool to be a nerd. Right. And different things that once you free a word, then you can it takes the sting out of it. And so as long as we are afraid to let people call us that,
right?
So somebody says, "Hey nigger," I say, "Hey, what honky?" Right. I mean that I have as much right to come back, fade, Chuck. In fact, black people have more derogatory terms about white people than white people have about black people. Mm-hmm. You just don't get to hear them because we keep them in the community. So that's
in the community.
In the community, yes. It occasionally escapes. But anyway, Ted, we're way off.
Well,
sorry,
no,
I apologize.
I should do a plug for something. Have you heard of the Hotep's Been Told You podcast? There are two black men. One's from Exeter, Pennsylvania, and the other one's from New Jersey. There's Hotep Jesus. That's what he calls himself. Mm-hmm. His name, not what I gave him. Mm-hmm. And Uncle Hotep. Mm-hmm. And they're both Trump guys, and they use that word every other sentence.
Well, anywhere.
It's on Spotify.
Well, you go on YouTube, and every black comedian out there.
Eddie, that's called black privilege.
Yeah, right. But they'll also feel free to call people honky and cracker.
Oh,
and Chuck and all these other derogatory names for white people, fade. And so It's one of these things that, like so many other things, the people have allowed themselves to be painted into. But Dave,
Mm-hmm.
This is our dear friend's time. We want to
right.
let's get back to your book.
My segue back to that is the shaming in tobacco's case for taxation.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's I shouldn't say this, but I have this friend in New York City, and I made a trip over to Missouri this summer, and because her sister smokes, and I bought a carton, and a carton in Missouri was under $100. Here it would be like 120, 130. It'd be very expensive.
Yeah.
But Missouri has the lowest tobacco taxes, so I just boxed it up and I mailed it off to her, and she's puffing away in her apartment in Queens and happy as she can be. It's what you do for friends. I shouldn't admit that.
Well, interesting thing is, I remember when I smoked and I was in college, and my dad was in the military, and we used to buy a carton of cigarettes for $1.90.
Wow.
$1.90 a carton, and now you're telling me $100? Oh my! That's
and Missouri has the lowest tobacco taxes, I think, in the country right now.
So about $80 out of that.
That's a $10,000 increase.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was Mary Fallon who pushed for that when she was governor. I never liked her.
That was one. And here's the thing: because I was president of NAMI Tulsa, mental health advocacy.
Right.
Kathy Costello worked with me on a lot of these things. And
Mark is mentioned in here.
Yes. So anyway, they tried to get us to sell it because they said 1/4 of the new proceeds of this tobacco tax was going to go for mental health programs.
Yeah.
And you know what I came up with? NAMI actually had published a study that said 42% of all tobacco products are consumed by the mentally ill.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not, I'm not saying you're part of that, but anyway, but I said, that's like putting a tax on wheelchairs to benefit the handicapped.
Sure.
We don't need that kind of help.
No.
You're wanting us to pay for our own programs.
Right. Yes, exactly.
And I say us because I associate with them. Not that I have a diagnosed. I just won't go to the doctor. See, that's
Ted, continue, please.
By the way, speaking of Mark Costello.
Yeah.
And this is the book, Cowboy Bethlehem.
There you go.
Cowboy Bethlehem, the story of Our Lady of Clear Creek Abbey.
Yeah.
It's out now.
That's your new book that you
just my new book.
Gotcha.
Mark Costello Mark and Kathy were very close to the monks. They both went to the University of Kansas back in the 1970s.
Yeah.
And attended the humanities program called the Pearson Humanities Program. My mind is going blank.
And let's remind people, Mark
Costello was state labor commissioner.
You're right.
And he and Kathy bought some land next to the monastery when the monks moved to Oklahoma, because they lived in Edmond. And I remember one time I was out at the monastery and Mark Costello was there, and I went up to him and I said, "Mark, you look like a politician." And he said to me, "Thank you." He appreciated that. Normally people don't always like being associated with politicians. This is all labor commissioners, state labor commissioners regulate elevators in the state. Every elevator. There's an elevator in the monastery. And there's a picture right here of the elevator certificate. I'll show it to you all in a minute. With Mark Costello's name on it and the address and the name of Clear Creek Abbey. And they have this to this day because they're very proud of it. You know, he was their friend.
Really?
And Mark, in fact, when his son killed him, I was at the funeral, and the abbot was there, and the Archbishop of Oklahoma City, Archbishop Coakley, who also is from Kansas, went to the University of Kansas. Mark was born and raised in Bartlesville. Kathy is from Kansas. The Archbishop of Oklahoma City, Archbishop Coakley, also attended the Pearson program and knew all of these people. And I don't know, were you all at the internment?
No, I heard some stories about it, but I was at the funeral.
Let me tell you about the internment. We're out in the middle of nowhere, north of Oklahoma City. and you can see the Devon Tower from the distance because it's so tall. And there was a news helicopter circling around Ghoulish, trying to get that shot of the casket coming out of the hearse. Well, the hearse was the hearse door was jammed.
Oh yeah,
open it.
That's the story I heard.
And one of our guys got in the hearse right along Mark and was jimming the lock, and we finally got it open.
Yeah,
making that helicopter spin around. And a friend of mine said to me, he goes, Mark is probably standing next to St. Peter now, and he's going, hey, watch this. And when the hearse door opened, there was a hooray.
Yeah,
because we had all waited like 45 minutes in the heat. It is the first time in the history of internments, hooray has ever been said. Mark was a funny man. He was a good man, and he was very funny. And I, in fact, the last I saw him, it was at a reception for a new priest who had been ordained in Oklahoma City. I used to write for Sooner Catholic, the archdiocesan newspaper. I wrote for them for 5 years, as well as the Oklahoma Constitution paper. And I saw him there, and he said to me, because he knew about my first book, The War on Smokers, he said, what are you doing here? We don't have any cigarettes.
Hey, let's get back to your first book. So essentially, what are you trying to say through that book? I
am saying that in a free society, legal products should be able to be consumed and enjoyed in designated areas. I'm not interested in, I did not write this book to argue that you should smoke in a daycare.
Correct.
I wrote this book to say you should be able to smoke in a bar. You should be able to smoke in the park. You should be able to smoke in an open, and you shouldn't be stigmatized because you enjoy tobacco. A lot of people, I smoke a pipe.
Would you agree, though, that the bar owner may, of his own volition?
Absolutely. And I completely support that.
But if for the state to say to that bar owner, you can't allow it, that's a different.
That's a very different thing. In fact, Nigel Farage has a copy of this book.
Okay.
I'm always grateful to Rhonda Valamont Smith because she let me backstage when he was in Tulsa.
Yeah.
And he had a cigarette on him.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought to myself, if he becomes prime minister, I'm just going to tell people, and I think he will become prime minister of Britain. I'm just going to tell people all he had to do was come to Tulsa and meet me.
Oh, yeah.
So essentially, your book is primarily about smokers' rights, but not just smokers' rights, because it's a lot, right?
Because there's
a broader issue with his individual liberty.
There's a whole chapter in here on the rise of the nanny state, about just all sorts of behaviors that experts, so-called experts, deem not good.
Okay, do you remember C.S. Lewis has a famous quote?
You smoked a pipe,
right? About moral busybodies.
Yes.
Do you want to?
I wish I knew that quote when I wrote this book.
Yes.
It was
it's worse than a tyrant.
Worse than a robber baron, because a robber baron's appetite may become satiated, but a moral busybody will never become, their appetite for control will never become satiated because they believe that they are on the right side.
Well, and
that's a rough translation.
They are working for what's good for you.
Yes.
It's that arrogance.
We're here to protect you from yourself. And this book became so prescient when COVID happened. I mean, it really did. When COVID happened, I thought to myself, "Oh wow, I was ahead of the ball by 11 years."
You see, Ted, this is the unique thing. Eddie grew up his early years in Germany, right? Catholic mom, right? And I grew up in central Minnesota, kind of the Garrison Keillor, Lake Wobegon.
I met him.
Yeah. Well, anyway, in the Catholic Church up there, I associate with the moral busybodies, not the church itself, but the culture and attitude of the people.
Sure.
And I see a lot of Catholic politicians, I won't name names, but some of them very local here, who think that it's for your own good that they impose these moral standards on you, these like the smoking and things like that.
Right.
Kind of like the blue laws we have in Oklahoma.
Sure.
You grew up here in a very evangelical state. And this is the thing about the Catholic Church is it kind of absorbs and becomes part of various cultures. So there's not just one Catholic culture.
Right.
You want to speak to that?
Well, could you elaborate about Minnesota? Because I've been to Minnesota.
So, Garrison Keillor talks about Lake Wobegon. He talks about Uppsala, he calls it. We call it Uppsala, holding Fort Avon, Flensburg. Flensburg's German.
Right.
Sobieski's a little town that's Polish.
Right.
Okay. St. Stanislav's the church there, right? And the Catholic Church takes on the culture of the community. Belle Prairie, close by my house, was French Catholic, Acadian, right? Uh-huh. And they will fight over the hymns. Are they German hymns or are they French hymns or Irish hymns?
I'm not familiar with that because I'm
exactly.
Here.
You guys are such a low percent,
right,
that you need each other. Up there, there's Catholic. If you're not Catholic, you're Lutheran. If you're not Catholic or Lutheran, you kept quiet about it up there.
Right.
Yeah. So, but this is the thing here, and I want to commend the Catholic Church in Oklahoma politics. It's overrepresented, you might say.
Oh yes.
Some incredible Mark Costello, Dewey Bartlett, his father, and Frank Keating.
Oh,
and
yes.
There's just a lot of them.
Right.
LaFortune family.
Oh, yes.
And why is that?
I don't know. I remember you're saying on the Pat Campbell show that in Tulsa, you said the Jews have all the money, the Catholics have all the power, and the Protestants have all the mouth. I always thought that was... always thought that was so funny because, it's funny because there's LaFortune Park and across is the Warren facility that,
Oh, yes. He was Catholic. His wife was Methodist.
She was Methodist. By the way, I learned this. I should probably say hello to my cousins in Colorado and Montana. They're related to the Warrens.
I'm sure they're watching.
They're probably not, but I'll tell them. I'll send them a link. They'll find out.
He's ruining the family name.
Well, I'm not a Warren. They are. Anyway, but the pink building, the hospital, Mrs. Warren liked that color, and she just chose it. And so everything about St. Francis is pink because of that.
Okay, tell me whether this is true.
Right.
They were both from wealthy families. But this was going to be an interdenominational marriage. They had agreed all their sons would be raised Catholic. All their daughters would be raised Methodist.
Yes.
They had all girls.
No. They had a son.
Okay, they did. All right. And she put all her money into Asbury, was her local congregation.
Right.
And you can tell how well Asbury.
Oh, yes, it is. Yeah.
He put everything into the Warren complex, St. Francis Hospital, and all the Warren buildings there. Is that true or not?
I do know that about that arrangement. One of her daughters married my cousin. We called him Demi-John King, and she wound up becoming Catholic. They were married at Christ the King, at church. My father was in the wedding. He was an altar boy.
Okay.
In fact, Bill Warren was one of the altar boys too. So but they were all raised Methodist. The girls were.
All right.
Yeah.
You need to start a podcast.
History of Tulsa.
Being a Catholic
history and religion of Tulsa.
I could go on and on, but yes.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see that. So, but why did this monastery come to be in Oklahoma?
Okay. I'm gonna put it out here. So the origin story. It's actually from Lawrence, Kansas.
Okay.
There was a program called the Integrated Humanities Program, and it was a great books program at the school. And it was Plato and Dante and the Bible and all various books. And you would go and you would attend this seminar. Now, two of the professors were Catholic, one was Anglican. the Anglican wound up becoming Catholic too. Their names were Senior, Quinn, and Nellick. And they would have these discussions. And they would discuss things like the Odyssey. What was Homer doing?
Mm-hmm.
Homer was trying to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the professors would look at these rabble students in the 1970s and say, and where are you going?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going with your life? And they would not take notes. They would not take notes, but they would just absorb the talk, and then they would have discussions. This program transformed hundreds of kids,
Mm-hmm.
Kansas kids.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, a lot of them became Catholic. In fact, Mark Kane, who's an attorney up in Bartlesville, read my book recently, and he said, as one who is at KU, you got it. You figured it out. You got, and I read a book about this.
Okay, but about the monastery.
Right. Now, a number of the students who became Catholic wound up going into a monastery in France, Fontainebleau.
Okay.
Father Bethel, who's out at the monastery, he's from Wichita.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like John Malkovich, the actor.
Okay.
He's a really cool guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very cool man.
Mm-hmm.
That is Father Bethel. He becomes Catholic from Methodist. I think he was Methodist.
Okay.
And his parents said, well, good. He's named Rourke after the protagonist in The Fountainhead.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, good, Rourke, you're becoming Catholic, you're going to church. That's great.
Okay.
And then he announced he was going to join a monastery in France. And they said, you're going where? You're going to do what?
Mm-hmm.
That was different.
Mm-hmm.
The abbot, Father Anderson, is from, I think it's Prairie Village. I have it in the book, a suburb of Kansas City. Father Bethel is from Wichita. There are a number of priests, some from Overland Park and others. And it's kind of a Catholic contingent. It was a Kansas contingent. The original, they were in France for many years. The abbot of Fontainebleau wanted to create a new establishment in the United States.
Okay.
And they were looking for several years at various properties.
Mm-hmm.
And they found a property owned by the Doyle family of Tulsa,
Mm-hmm.
a Catholic family who had this wonderful place out in Cherokee County.
Mm-hmm.
And they purchased they wanted to sell it, and the monks were able to buy it, and they were able to move in. The title of the book is Cowboy Bethlehem because that was the nickname they gave the place.
Okay.
And I tell people this is the only book. There was a series in the 1960s on the BBC called Civilization
Mm-hmm.
with Lord Kenneth Clark. And it is the greatest documentary series on Western art that will ever be made.
Mm-hmm.
So Lord Kenneth Clark, I tell people this is the only book in the world where Lord Kenneth Clark and Toby Keith get equal mention.
Okay. What is the mission of this monastery? I can think of a lot of accomplishments.
Sure.
Tell me what their focus is.
Their focus for themselves is to get themselves into heaven.
Gotcha.
Okay. And hope and to pray for us.
So it's that monastic, explain monastic living.
I'll read it to you.
Oh,
this is, and I wanted a Bible quote because, Catholics, we're not like you all, right? We're not well-versed in everything in the Bible, but this is from Matthew 19:16-22. And behold, one came and said to him, good master, what good shall I do that I may have life everlasting?
Mm-hmm.
Who said to him, why asketh me concerning good? One is good, God, but if thou wilt ever will enter into life, keep the commandments. He said to him, which? And Jesus said, thou shalt do no murder. Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Mm.
Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness.
Mm-hmm.
Honor thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. The young man said to him, all of these things I have kept from my youth. Yet, what is yet wanting to me?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus said to him, thou wilt be perfect. If thou wilt be perfect, go sell what thou hast and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come follow me.
Okay.
And when the young man heard this word, he went away sad, for he had many possessions. That is pretty much the root, the biblical root of monasticism.
So it's to try to free yourself from materialism,
Right,
to the extent you can.
right. And I say, I'll I don't know. Should I read it?
No, try. Just,
it's not King James English.
No, it was the Dewey Reams Bible.
Well, just tell us.
That was the Dewey Reams you're reading from?
Yes.
With the thus and the thus and the thus.
Okay. So, in your own words,
their purpose is to get themselves into heaven and inspire us.
Mm-hmm. Inspire us. So they know, as Jesus said, let your works be seen in front of men.
Right.
You let your light shine before men.
Right.
When they performed a Latin requiem for Mark Costello's funeral, the whole state was there. I mean, gosh,
it was huge.
Packed. Yes. And yeah, it clearly they were demonstrating their form of worship.
Right.
Very devout.
Yes.
A couple of years ago, I went to a Latin wedding, my nephew out there, but it's that getting in touch with the worship of the ages, as the Catholics, the Roman Catholics have expressed it. And you see us culturally now moving towards reconnecting with the things that we kind of set aside.
Yes.
And that's what's bringing about a growth in the Catholic Church.
I as one who grew up in the 70s, we had these awful hymnals from the Jesuits from St. Louis. By the way, there's a joke. There are 3 things God does not know. You ever heard this one?
No.
Okay. 1, how much money do the Franciscans have? God doesn't know that.
You're getting on my people now. I grew up in the Franciscans.
2, how many women religious there are? And 3, what are the Jesuits up to?
There we go.
So anyway, they're Benedictines, by the way. They're not Jesuits. I mean, the hymnals were terrible. They were just dreadful. And I would think to myself, don't we have like
but that's music? Jesuits. The Franciscans were better.
I mean, all the Catholic churches in the 1970s and 80s, it was, let us build the city of God. May our dear tears be.
Yeah, the Methodists had an upper leg on. I mean, Charles Wesley himself, right?
I went to a Methodist funeral years ago, and the cantor gets up and she says, and now we're going to hear a song that the deceased request. And it's on Eagle's Wings. And I'm like, I heard, it hurts me to hear that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that and Amazing Grace. But that's
we get more carnal about the songs.
Right, we do.
In the selection. And we call that the worship portion.
Yes.
And dying to self, no, we get more carnal about it.
No, we
don't. And you know what? All denominations have that struggle.
Oh, sure, they do. Yeah.
But anyway, I think we should wrap it up. Tell us how to get the book, how to get in touch with you.
Okay. The book is available at Dorrance Bookstore right now. It's also available.
Where's that at?
Well, Dorrance Publishing. It's out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It's available.
So online.
It's online. You can get it on Amazon, although there's no picture on Amazon, and Jeff Bezos has enough money. So I would say go to Barnes & Noble because they do have my book there.
Gotcha.
I am going to have a website up soon. I hope. I'm not a web builder, and it's going to be cowboybethlehem.com and Cowboy Bethlehem Book. I do know that the Catholic bookstore in Tulsa, Catholic Books and Gifts, has stocked it, and they're getting more copies in because they've sold out. It's also available if you're watching this in Kansas at Eighth Day Books in Wichita, which is a nice little bookstore.
Good.
It's not a little bookstore; it's a very big bookstore. As well as I think it's Trinity Catholic Books in Overland Park. Has it as well, and the Catholic Information Center in Washington D.C. has it.
All right,
kind of cool.
So
and I can be reached Theodore King on Facebook, and the icon is this book. So if you want to reach out to me and give me a call or whatever, I'll be glad to sell you a book.
So through Facebook, you'll let people know of book signings and.
Oh yes. I'm going to be. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Wednesday, I'm going to be in the Hiring Auditorium, which is in the basement of Holy Family Cathedral. After the noon mass, it'll be at 12:45. There'll be a light lunch, and I will be signing. I will give a little talk, and I will be signing books. They have 40 books. I have another 30. So if they run out,
Okay, that's on 11th Street downtown.
Yeah, it's a Holy Family Cathedral.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
With Denver,
Sure.
Yeah. So
all right.
Boulder. Excuse me.
Boulder. That sounds
Why
better.
did I say Denver?
Yes.
You know why? Because I'm familiar with this place and I just know where everything is. So,
all right.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to break.
All right. Hey, Ted, thank you very much for coming back.
Appreciate it.
Let's see. What do we want to come in with this time? Well, we'll just come back with the same thing we went out with.
Okay. There you go.
Hey, are we back on?
Yes, we are.
Okay. I'm not. Hey. Well, you know what?
There you go.
That's why I muted instead of unmuting.
Yep.
Dummy.
Yeah.
Hey, couple of scores.
Yeah.
Texas leads San Jose State at the end of one quarter, 14-0.
They better.
Well, there are 12 seconds left. So, but basically, unless Texas gets another field goal and or a touchdown, it's 14-0. Texas Tech is leading Kent State 24-0 at the end of the first quarter. Let's see what else we got here. For those of you that care, Penn State over Florida International 7-0 in the second quarter. So the number, what are they? The number 2 team in the nation is not running over Florida International. That's an interesting though.
Yeah.
Indiana leads Kennesaw State. Iowa State 6-0 over Iowa. Go Iowa State. Go Big 12. Illinois, who's number 11, leads Duke 7-3. SMU, SMU's leading Baylor. So that's an interesting, nice old Southwest Conference matchup there. And Florida State leads East Texas A&M 21-0. So that's a little bit of an update there for sports fans.
Baylor came close. I think, was it Auburn they played last week?
Mm-hmm.
And some say they got robbed. But so Baylor's got to turn this thing around. You can't go 0-2. And
yeah, that would be tough. Well, except these are non-conference games.
Yeah.
So, they can turn around and still win the conference. I mean, if you
can, I think there's one really powerful matchup this week. Just one.
Which one?
Michigan at Oklahoma.
OU.
Yep. That's the only 2 top 25 matchups there are.
Yeah. I don't know how powerful a matchup that really is. I mean, Michigan is not the Michigan of the past.
This is the sanctioned Michigan team.
Right, which it should have happened a long time
because
ago.
Harbaugh cheated and then he ran off to the NFL.
Right, exactly.
That's the way the cheaters do it,
Yeah, you know who's the worst?
Hmm.
The old USC coach,
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll.
Oh, yeah.
Seattle. Yeah,
Yeah.
back. He's back.
Yeah, and then what's his name? Brown, who was the Kansas basketball coach when they beat Oklahoma. Billy Tubbs back in '84, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Kansas got hit with a bunch of stuff, but Coach Brown ran off to the NBA.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you punish the institution, and the next coach
was that Hubie Brown.
It was Brown, some Brown. I don't know.
Hubie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. But yeah, it's interesting. If you can't tell, I'm a huge Big 12 fan.
Yeah.
And I always will be. So, it's always Texas Tech, then Oklahoma, and then it's the Big 12. That's my pecking order of how I choose.
Yeah.
Probably my number 2 favorite is the team that has mocked Texas Tech, but not in a good way. They stole our horse and rider, and they took our guns up and turned into pistols firing. Oh, you don't believe me, do you?
I think you're getting petty. Let it go.
No. But I'm saying they are my second favorite team in the Big 12. Yeah. I have to say, I live in Oklahoma, but I have watered my horse on the Cowboy side rather than on the Sooner side. Mm-hmm. So I'm more of a OSU fan than I'm an OU fan. I'll just say that.
I am too. I would really be excited for OSU if they gave me something to be excited about. The last 2 years have really been disappointing. Remember, was it not last year before, they won Bedlam, right? They beat the Sooners. And I think it was in Norman.
The funniest one, though, to me that I'll never forget is when Bob Stoops decided to punt the ball with less than a minute to go, and he kicks it to Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek took it all the way for a touchdown and won the game for OSU. That's one of those like Michael Crabtree catching that pass with like less than 10 seconds against Texas and running I think there were 19 seconds left. But anyway, ran a touchdown against Texas to beat Texas that year. That was Texas Tech. But those are two memorable games.
I am becoming more of an Iowa State fan. Even though I'm not from Iowa. My wife's family helped build Iowa State University way back, but I have a nephew and niece that graduated Iowa State. I'm the only thing, to me, the only good thing that ever came out of Iowa State was Booker T. Washington. No, I'm sorry. George Washington Carver. I'm sorry. Excuse me. George Washington Carver is an Iowa State graduate. Mm-hmm. Even back in the early 1900s, Iowa State allowed colored folk to go. So that's one of their things that a lot of people don't know about and don't give them credit for. But Iowa State, that's where George Washington Carver went. And here's what's weird. I'm a huge Brock Purdy fan. Their quarterback. I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, I'm a big Brock Purdy fan, but I'm not an Iowa State Hawkeye fan. I don't know. There's something.
No. Iowa State's Cyclones.
I was a Hawkeye. Yeah, Cyclones. Forgive me.
Yeah, and beating Iowa now is not that big a thing. Iowa did have a nice run in the 80s and 90s.
Well, we'll find out later this afternoon or this evening because they're playing each other.
But they're playing in Ames this time, so that's good.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to say, though, go Pokes. They're in Oregon. They're up in Eugene playing the Ducks.
What happened?
The Cowboys go duck hunting today.
So I watched last night, probably the headline of last night's NFL experiment was YouTube. It was the worst production I've ever seen.
Really?
Worst. Their pregame show was all about YouTube.
Well,
almost nothing about
but I don't ever tune in for pregame, halftime.
No, I'm trying to get scouting reports. They didn't have any of that.
I don't need that.
They had all these YouTube celebrities.
They're usually wrong.
I still want some info. You know what I did? They had one segment there where they explained the transmitters, the speakers, and that. Nobody, hello, NFL on Fox. Tell us this stuff. When you see a quarterback doing this, what's going on?
He's got speakers in his helmet.
Yes.
The coach is telling him.
And they're explaining all the things, and the coach with his hand on there. That's it. And then the override that, jams the signal 15 seconds before, left of the play clock. Countdown. So, yeah, that little segment was good. The rest was just the worst TV production I've ever seen.
Well, when you say TV production, let's not talk about technical, because technically they used HD, which it was a very clear picture. The camera crews, everything was good. I thought Rich Eisen did a good job announcing the game. They were very fair. They were, one of the worst is Troy Aikman and his sidekick.
Joe Buck.
I can't stand to listen to them, really. And the Sunday night game is usually pretty good, but there's certain people but I thought that went well. And I'll tell you my big surprise, I hope we're not boring you, but is Cam Newton. Cam, I thought, showed himself to be very knowledgeable. Now, if you could get over the hat and the garb he was wearing and everything. Yeah, he's a little bit like he's getting ready to go to Paris to a fashion show or something. But what came out of his mouth was very intelligent. It was very cogent. It was good. So that kind of surprised me. I hate to say that. But the guy is a lot more intelligent than it's really sad to me. And I find this a lot with a lot of Black celebrities and entertainers. A lot of them are very intelligent people, but they just act stupid, and it's weird. Their actions are so out of character for who they really are. Because, if they would, I was thinking of Cam Newton. Okay. He was a good quarterback at Auburn. He was a good quarterback for a while in the NFL, but his off the field shenanigans and things, just drug him down. He'd probably still be playing today if he had a better attitude. Yeah. And I think it goes to parenting. I think the bottom line is parenting, because from the beginning, he was paid to go to Auburn before it was legal to be paid to go anywhere. And they just could never prove it, and they let it go. So anyway, that's
people like that. Sadly, we find out that the Chiefs weren't firing on all cylinders.
No, they started out sluggish, and I don't know what in the heck, why they, finally.
Rashid Rice being out for 6 weeks.
Well, they had two. Rashid Rice was out, and there was another one.
Worthy got hurt.
Right, but there was another starter that was missing. So two of their receivers, I think, were gone.
Yeah.
But Hollywood Brown, former OU star, he was the leading receiver on both teams last night. Yeah. And he did well. I think he missed a chance to score a touchdown at one time, the long bomb that he got, because instead of just going for the end zone, he tried to make a move, and he made the move into the guy instead. All he had to do is catch the ball and go to the end zone. And I think had they done that, they would have scored another touchdown.
And the Chargers quarterback, was it Haber? Is that
Herbert?
Yeah. Okay.
Justin Herbert.
Remember the guy?
I'm a fan of Justin's. I've followed Justin since he was at Oregon. He was the Oregon quarterback, and good kid, good guy. And he and Pat are actually friends, but it's just they do commercials together and stuff. But I'm a Chiefs fan. But if anyone's going to beat him, I don't mind it being the team I really have a hard time with is Cincinnati.
So let's talk about the premier game Thursday night. That was the Eagles hosting the Dallas Cowboys.
The officiating was horrible. And speaking again of former OU players, his name just escaped.
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb dropped like at least two, if not three.
His second half was bad.
Balls. Yeah. I mean, these passes were.
His first half was over 100 yards.
Yeah. Somebody needs to check and see if he wasn't betting on the game.
Oh, boy, you were really dropping it now.
Oh, yeah. And it's funny. I've hated the Cowboys. Not just disliked, I've hated the Cowboys since I was 11 years old.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go back into it. It's a long story. It has to do with the Army-Navy game, and I'll just start back. But anyway, after last night, I'm back to being a Cowboy fan. Or Thursday night. I'm sorry, Thursday. I saw the game. And
let's go back about 6 or 7 years. The Super Bowl that was.
But let's just finish on this. Let's stay on this.
No, because I am on this.
Oh, okay.
Remember the power outage at, I think it was Candlestick or something like that. It was the 49ers. And there was this delay, and then it changed the whole game. There was a lightning warning Thursday night. Up to that point, there's 45 points have been scored. And it was in the middle of the third period. They stopped it. 0 points scored after that. All of a sudden, it seems like the defense has dominated the game, but with CeeDee Lamb having just a horrible drop.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention, which was possibly crucial, the Philadelphia Eagle guy walked by and spit on Dak Prescott. And of course, he didn't get to play the game. They kicked him out of the game for doing that. I mean, it was more than bad sportsmanship. But to me, a team and coach that hasn't coached your players well enough to know that you don't just walk up and spit on somebody. Now, he tried to say that he saw Dak spitting on their players, but no, if you've ever watched a game, always someone spitting.
Let me set this up. They had just had the kickoff. Dax wasn't even on the field.
Right.
Dax is coming up for his huddle, and the defense is supposed to be good 10 yards away. And this guy walks over to the Dallas Cowboys huddle. And does that.
Right. Right.
Okay. This wasn't an accident.
Oh, no. Everybody, no. He even admitted it
okay.
was. He was trying to explain that it was a vengeance for Dak spitting on one of his players, but Dak never spit on anyone. Dak was just like they do, spitting, and there happened to be an Eagle player in the area.
He was 10 yards out of where he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's what actually drew the officiating over, because like, what's he doing over here?
Right. And
so they saw it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not any smarter than that, yeah.
Okay. I get two things. Dan Patrick yesterday morning said, all right, the punishment is deserved. He's out of the game, but Dan Patrick doesn't think a fine is warranted. Okay. That's fair, except that because he was the very best defensive player on the Eagles side, he got kicked out. What happens when it's somebody from the bench comes out on the field and spits? If we don't punish this guy from the NFL,
monetarily,
right, then they're going to say, oh, okay, we just won't have our best player do the spitting. We'll have some bench warmer come out and do it, because it wasn't even during a play.
No, I know. It's just funny the devious mind that would have to go that far to try to, keep their person from being spit upon or kicked out of the game. That's kind of
because
funny.
if you send somebody from the bench out there who probably isn't going to play the whole game,
right? Oh yeah,
and then he spits, he gets thrown. Okay, fine. There's you still get the intimidation,
right,
without any harm to your team. So I do think the NFL does need to do something.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I agree.
Okay.
Hey, let's get to some news you can use. I want to start with Bobby Kennedy.
Okay.
Yesterday, Bobby Kennedy sat for a congressional hearing.
Yes, about the Senate, right?
Right, the Senate, right, which is part of the U.S. Congress. But anyway, I guess you could call it a Senate hearing, but anyway, and it was just terrible. I mean, the Democrats were doing everything they could to try to make him look bad, but I thought he did a great job.
I watched it live. Steve Bannon started the show with it. He says, hey, this is Steve Bannon. We're going straight to this. Bannon knew what was coming.
Oh, yeah. Fox, of course, had it. Newsmax had it. I'm sure you wouldn't see it. You probably only saw when the Democrats were trying to get a good shot in on CNN or MSNBC. But essentially, Bobby Kennedy has now said they believe that the cause of a lot of the autism that we have today, this is a shocking, I don't know if you knew this, prior to 1970, the autism cases were like 1 in 1,000 or 1 in several thousand.
Like 10,000.
1 in 10,000.
Yeah.
And now it's 1 in 30 births.
Yeah.
1 in 30. I mean, that's a crapshoot. I mean, if you're having a baby, you got to be praying he
told us last March, by September, they'll have a good idea what causes
and
autism.
They're saying Tylenol, which is kind of crazy because there's so much Tylenol use. I mean, if you think acetaminophen, for those of you that like the generic.
Yeah, that came out immediately. The company that has a patent on it dropped 14% immediately. You know, they're just saying pregnant women.
Right.
Okay. So this isn't, according to this, it's not something you're giving the kid that's causing it. It's something you're giving the mom during gestation.
Right. Exactly. Because everything passes through.
So here's the thing, you know, even in the 80s, there was still a lot of doctors had not changed their practice. They were still doing aspirin for a lot of things. And we know aspirin has some dangerous side effects. They always felt like Tylenol is a safer drug than aspirin.
Well, yeah. And now what it is, for example, I'm on blood thinners, okay, because I have clotting.
Right.
So I have to take blood thinners. But so they tell me I'm not allowed to take Advil, ibuprofen. Ibuprofen, because ibuprofen thins the blood.
Right. So you get a double dose going on.
Yeah. Right. And also ibuprofen, I found out, is terrible for your kidneys. So if you want kidney health, stay away from ibuprofen. And so what do? What do? I go to Tylenol, of course, or aspirin. I usually do 1 300 milligram. I won't do the baby aspirin, but I'll do a 300 milligram. And but, you know, it's so sad to me that you've got Robert F. Kennedy. He doesn't have to put up with this crap that these people are giving him. He could be out just living on his name and still being popular with the Democrat Party, right?
He's pretty wealthy just from the lawsuits that he's successful.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he was wealthy beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a Kennedy, you got some bucks. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
But he has really devoted himself to this, and now they're trying to make him a flim-flam man, saying, you know, he doesn't know what he's talking about and so forth.
Yeah.
Bobby is not pulling this out of his behind, okay?
No.
He has doctors, researchers, professors that have been studied this, and they're working on it to try to, and here's the way to do it. I mean, all you do, you figure out up until when the epidemic of, I mean, when I was in school, I didn't know of anybody that had autism. I really didn't. There was nobody that had autism. We had a lot of we had mental retardation, and then you had
Down syndrome.
Down syndrome, and people, you know, polio. Remember the polio where the kids, their legs were like spaghetti thin.
Yeah.
And so they had to have crutches. That happened because of the polio situation.
And then for a short time, there was a medicine they're giving to women for morning sickness that was causing major.
They were coming out with no arms or no legs, and so there was different things like that. So why shouldn't he? And I'll tell you what the big thing is. It's big pharma.
Oh yeah.
You know, you are hurting, and the kickbacks to these politicians from the pharmaceutical industry. I attribute Biden's win in 2020 to the pharmaceutical industry because Donald Trump essentially declared war on the pharmaceutical industry.
Sure.
And the pharmaceutical industry got their payback.
Oh, yeah.
They went after.
I mean, they were funding the operation of not just MSNBC, CNN, but Fox News Channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, yeah, they were owned.
He was messing with their money, and so they felt they had to get rid of him.
Yeah.
They were unfortunately they were unable to do so this time. But now there's this campaign, and oh my goodness, I don't know if you read, but what's her name? Elizabeth Warren. She is one of the biggest recipients of money from the pharmaceutical companies, and she was probably the prime one going after Robert F. Kennedy in the hearings. And I can't even stand to hear that lady talk. I mean, it just bugs me. You know, like a yapping chihuahua and fake Indian. I mean, everything about her is fake. And yet she has nerve enough to be sitting there trying to accuse Robert F. Kennedy Jr. of something, but all he's trying to do is make America. It's fitting, make America healthy again. And the other thing they've come out against is your so-called fruity cereals. Okay, breakfast food, and all of your Fruit Loops, your Tricks, your Kicks, everything with all the artificial coloring in it. It's got all the food coloring and dyes and very heavy in sugar. But not only that, there's some other additives they've put in there that need to come out. So it's time, and it's too bad that it took Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to step in and say, I'm going to take this challenge and try to right this wrong again, and get us healthy again. We need to become healthy once again, our children in particular. I'm so tired. Two of my dear friends, one of my college fraternity brothers, his firstborn son was autistic. My former secretary had 2 autistic children. She had 2 that were fine, and then the last 2, both of them autistic. And somewhere there's something wrong. And I've got a 1-year-old grandson, and I pray for him all the time that he is able to not suffer this same thing, and, I think everybody now has in the back of their mind. The other thing is we don't see the epidemic of autism in other countries that we do here.
Wow.
And why? Well, because they don't eat Fruit Loops and Tricks and Kicks and this and that. They don't probably take the Tylenol as much as we do for pain and things like that.
Last night, my wife and I discussed this whole Tylenol autism thing. And I think we both kind of came to consensus that's probably not the only factor leading to the rise. Like a lot of people associate it with the infant immunization schedule. It's pretty radical now.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's true. And they've got to, what were they coming up with? A child by the time they're 1 has had 30 different shots in 1 year, in the first year. Why? Because some good-looking woman in a suit with a roller bag is showing up at these doctors' offices saying, here, we can offer you all of this to give out to your patients. That's really what's going on.
What's the number one industry that former beauty queens are employed in?
Pharmaceutical
sales. Yep. I've got a customer, a former Miss Oklahoma, that she's worked for several of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've seen them when I'm at my doctor's office. I've seen them come in with their roller bags and smiling. Oh, hi, I've got these samples here. And this, and the next thing you know,
sure,
doctors are giving out these samples. And
so I want to talk about the hearings, particularly who it was he came before. It doesn't make sense. This is the Senate Finance Committee.
That does
not the Health Committee.
Right.
And I think this was a select gotcha because they got just the people they wanted. Mike Crapo chaired it, was horrible in defending him.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
And Ron Wyden is the ranking member of the Democrats, just horrible. And then worse than that, Republican senator from Louisiana, Dr. Cassidy.
Yeah, he's I don't care for him. He's a never Trumper.
Yes.
And which would make
he
him a
said,
never
I'm
candidate.
here not as a senator, but primarily as a physician. Now he's saying my loyalty is to my profession more than my state,
my nation.
Yeah. And then he's just coming after him. But one of the brilliant things that Kennedy did, he memorized every member there, how much their campaign war chest has gotten. Elizabeth Warren finishes her tirade of smears, and he says, and that comes from somebody who took $855,000 last year from pharmaceuticals.
That was just last year.
Yeah,
there's been millions. I mean, yeah. I've read it. It's some in the tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah. And so these people are owned.
Yeah. Oh, sure they are.
Because
sure they are.
It's very rare to see a senator say, I've served long enough, I'm going to go step aside. They usually go to their funeral before they go to resignation. Even look, Jim Inhofe, I think he served longer than he should have, but he was one of those people that said, you know what? It's time for me to spend my last days with my wife while I still got her. It's so many of those people. They can't. Dianne Feinstein doesn't even know what she's voting for, and she's being coached.
Well, she's gone.
Yeah, but remember her last days?
Oh yeah. It was
just
really.
Say yes. Just say, oh yes.
Yeah.
she's air. This is what's wrong with these people. So.
Well, no, we know. I mean, if you look at I don't know if you saw Ilhan Omar.
Mm-hmm.
Ethiopia, or I'm sorry, my apologies to Ethiopia. Somali refugee needs to thank God that she was rescued from that hellhole, as Donald Trump would call it, of Somalia. She comes here, and now, since she's been in Congress, I think 8 years, maybe 6 to 8 years, she's worth $30 million.
Yeah.
$30 million from nowhere. Now, you can't tell me on $175,000 a year salary, $175,000 a year salary, and she's worth $30 million. Come on. So these are the things, but you can't get rid of these people because their constituents in there, for example, that part of she's Minnesota, Wisconsin. She's Minnesota.
Yeah, Minneapolis.
Yeah. So it's a heavy Somali. And this is one of the stupid things that people weren't thinking of when you bring all these refugees and you settle them all in one place, one state, in one area, rather than dispersing them all over the country.
Specific neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You create ghettos. Ghetto does not mean slum. There's a difference between a slum and a ghetto. Ghetto just means it's a group of the same culture, same nationality, same background. That's a ghetto. It's a Jewish ghetto. During the Nazi Jewish ghettos, you have a black ghetto, Hispanic ghettos. But the ghetto doesn't mean poverty. It just means an exclusive group of people live. You can have the Tulsa Hills ghetto. Because it's all rich white folks,
Well, yeah, there are a lot of. When I first moved to Tulsa, I knew some people in West Tulsa that just say, "You'll never see me live anywhere other than West Tulsa."
Yeah, the North Tulsa people are that way.
Yes, exactly.
They didn't want to move south.
It's because these are my people. These are who I
grew up here,
with,
right?
And we see this down in Jinx, South Jinx, Churchill Park, massive Burmese bunch there. And I've got customers there who said they don't even want to be our friends. They won't hardly talk to us. They just treat us like, we're disgusting. They despise our culture, want to hang on to theirs. it's just not going to work.
No, and see, that's the problem. Multiculturalism is going to destroy the U.S.
Yeah, and Somali's very much that way.
That's it. You got Somalis, then you got, certain Nigerians, Kenyans in certain areas, and it's just not good. The biggest one is the Hispanic. Well, the funny thing about Hispanic culture is too many non-Hispanics assume that everybody south of the border is Mexican.
Yeah, I know. You're right.
And they call them Mexican. And people from El Salvador can't stand Mexicans, and Mexicans can't stand El Salvador.
Yeah.
And same with Guatemala and this, in Brazil and Venezuela, these people are not natural. They're different. They were different tribes, like our Native American tribes.
Cubans don't even want to be called Hispanic. That's an insult to them.
Yeah. So anyway, but getting back to Bobby Kennedy's testimony, I thought he did a good job. They didn't. I can't stand Elizabeth Warren because every time she gets going and somebody has responses, she won't listen. She'll just keep talking.
Oh yeah.
Try to talk over them. but I thought Robert F. Kennedy Jr. did a really good job there, and we need to listen. We need to listen. I just want to tell Elizabeth Warren, I'm sorry, shut up. I'm not buying anything you say. You're a fake Indian, and you've made millions sitting there in Washington, D.C. You need to go back. If you want to be a professor at Yale, become a professor at Yale.
Harvard.
Or Harvard.
Yeah.
Harvard, the other one. Yeah. They're the same.
I know, but Yale people will be disgusted.
Well, yeah, I know. I don't have a lot of pity for them.
Yeah, I know.
So,
hey, I do have an update. Your Texas Tech's up 38-0 over Kent State.
With how much time?
They're still in the second period. A couple minutes left in the first half. So
I'm disappointed they didn't get 50. They had 24 in the first half. They should.
Yeah, this should be a blowout, And Baylor is 14 and SMU 24. So SMU,
they're coming back.
Well, SMU is a top 25 team,
right? But it was 24-7 before, so if it's 14 now. Baylor's coming.
Yeah,
back.
some are saying Indiana is starting to get up there.
Are they top 10 or top 15?
They're 21st.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but remember, I think, was it 2 years ago, they locked Ohio State out of the Big Ten championship. But anyway, they're up 21-3, but they're playing Kennesaw State, whoever that is, Iowa is losing to Iowa State 3-13. So Florida State's blowing out East Texas A&M. Who are they? East Texas A&M.
I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many of these football.
They're kind of like Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Yeah, I know. But 42-0 there. And then Duke is losing to Illinois 14-6. Texas beating San Jose State 28-7.
That's a surprise.
Now, San Jose State is one of those teams from the Mountain West that the new Pac-12 wants to recruit.
Right.
So, along with San Diego State, which is really,
if they do a new Pac-12 and they pick the right teams, I think it will elevate those teams, and it'll be, because I'll tell you what's going on. A lot of people may not be interested in, but this is really more important than you think. Texas Tech, for example, they're playing their game on TNT. Okay. So now we've got TNT, Turner Broadcasting Network.
Yeah.
All right. So TNT now has jumped into the fray. And what does that mean?
Yeah, more
money.
Yeah, CW is carrying a game today.
Exactly. There's another one. What's the other one? Ion. Oh, Channel 41 or whatever.
Wow, 44.
41, whatever 41 is, they carry a game every week now. I think they've got a relationship with the ACC.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, what's happening, so as these teams or these schools and conferences in particular, the Big 12, they've got some really ingenious, some good people working this out.
Yep.
Because the TV revenue will boost these teams. Texas Tech right now has, believe it or not, I didn't even know this until 2 weeks ago, but they have the biggest source of revenue for paying players.
NIL
money. And so you've got all of a sudden they're shocking everybody, the top 3 recruits in the nation.
Well, yeah.
All of a sudden signing with Texas Tech and say, what? Why would they go to Texas Tech? Because Texas Tech and the head of the Big 12 conference right now is Cody Campbell, who used to play. He was a football player at Tech shortly after I left back in the 70s. Or maybe, no, he might have been. No, Cody would have been around Leach's, early Leach, like Leach. But anyway, he has personally, get this, him and his partner, he graduated from Texas Tech and is now an oil billionaire, not millionaire, billionaire guy. Went to Texas Tech. Imagine he didn't go to Texas or OU or to one of the big Northeastern schools. What? But he's worth, I can't remember how many, it's like $30 billion. And so he is the one that has been funding like the softball team.
I was going to say, now Jerry Kennedy was at Stanford, entered the portal, $1.3 million for a softball player.
Right. And
that was unheard of.
And Cody, in fact, they have, it used to be Jones Stadium where Texas Tech played. It's now Campbell Stadium. But I think last count, it's given like $53 million to the work. 53 million. Can you imagine? Well, so it just shows, and what's so funny, you got OU people, OU fans complaining, they're only doing it because they have the best people money can buy. Oh, really? You don't think OU, Texas, the big schools have been, Alabama, have not been able to do that because of the same reason, money? It's been there all along. It's just when somebody beats you at your own game, all of a sudden it doesn't seem fair, but OU's endowment includes this big multi-million-dollar mansion in Italy. Like, what do they need that for? Well, no, the mansion in Italy, that's their that's where they have their foreign student. I mean, what do you call study abroad?
Okay.
Like Pepperdine, my daughter, they have a castle. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Heidelberg Castle. It's a famous, let me finish. They have a famous castle, the Heidelberg Castle. Well, the not so famous castle right next to the Heidelberg Castle is the Pepperdine University Castle. And that's where their foreign, they do their, what is it called? A foreign, you have a semester abroad. That's the semester abroad. Well, they have the semester abroad castle in Heidelberg, Germany.
Oh, that makes the education so much richer and more in depth because you're in a castle.
Yeah, the one that gets me that I don't know who would sign up for that, but it's a study at sea. Have you ever seen that one?
No.
Oh yeah, you get a semester at sea, and they have an ocean liner.
Oh, Carnival Cruise.
Yeah, you travel around, go port to port, and then you have study on the ship. For this week, and on weekend you happen to be in Rio de Janeiro or we're in Casablanca.
Now, if you're majoring, say, in international business or something like that, okay, that makes sense.
Right.
But I'm sorry, what does it make your accounting degree any more valuable?
No.
Yeah.
Well, no, but what it does do, it broadens your horizons. It takes away fear. So many Americans, I can't tell you how many Americans in their 50s and 60s, and I say, have you ever been to London? Have you ever been to Paris? Have you ever been to Frankfurt, Munich, Germany? Have you ever been to Madrid? Oh, no. Why? Oh, it's so, and so they're fearful. They're afraid to go because expense, don't speak the language. We hear that the people don't like us, all these things. When you go in as a 19 to 21-year-old youth and you see all of a sudden, hey, this isn't so bad. It's nice over here, and I'm coming back.
Yeah.
And it allows you to be more bold and be more worldly.
They used to say that about a liberal arts education. It makes for the more well-rounded individual. It's not the sciences per se, but you learn more about cultures and things that impact our culture.
Right, but what's the best way to learn about culture?
And that's what I'm saying. This is kind of an extension of that. I will say, Eddie, 3 summers ago, I spent a week in Lower Manhattan. My son took me there. What it did for me was incredible. Because I always hear about New York, but you go live there for a week.
Did you eat at an Italian place?
Oh, yeah, all kinds, yeah.
Because I know we always get off on some personal rabbit here, and I'll go with a big bunny here. But my wife and I went, and so we're walking down, because
last week you told me about Little Italy.
Yeah, Little Italy. And which is only a street long. I mean, it's just a block, basically. Yeah. You think, I've been thinking Chinatown, Little Italy are these huge, massive, it's just a block, a street. Yeah. But anyway, we ended up did I tell you about the spaghetti?
Yeah, the pasta.
Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. I've told you already. But yeah,
He's getting old, folks.
No, I can't. I honestly cannot forget about that pasta.
Exactly.
That I feel like I've never eaten pasta before.
Yes, like I remember being in Chicago and eating all the ethnic foods there. Believe me, you want a place to go where you get a variety of foods. Chicago's really that way. But yeah, and I mean, like I went to the Comedy Cellar for a good comedy show. Well, New York does those things all over town.
Right.
And you're just sitting there listening to people laughing at the jokes. You get a feel for the culture.
Yeah.
And you find out they're folks just like you and me. They struggle like we struggle. The things that are important to them, maybe not so important here. There's some things they don't relate to us on. Like, why would you drive a pickup? Why would you even have a car? Because New Yorkers, they don't have cars, mostly. You know?
Right. And public transportation.
Right. And a gun. My God, what makes you think you can own a gun?
I have friends in Dallas that freak out. I went down one weekend, and when we left, and sometimes we'll go, and I'll always take my guns out of the house and bring it. So I went to my friend's house. I decided to stay with one of my college buddies, fraternity brothers. And so I said, hold on, let me get my bag. So I get my bag, and then I come walking in with these 2 gun cases, travel cases, and I bring him in, and then I take off the handgun I'm wearing, and he's just freaking out, he's scared, instantly scared to death. And I'm thinking, what is wrong with you? Why are you, but it's just, people have been cultured, or brainwashed to thinking, and I was that way before I ever picked up. I was just afraid to touch this thing because I know I'm going to shoot myself or somebody until you, and I, you and I disagree about a concealed carry license. The only good thing I like about a carry license is the fact you go through the class and then go to the range and actually learn how to shoot and what to do.
Well, there's additional things you get, such as it's recognized in other states.
Well, yeah, but that as far as protection legally, but I'm talking about just the way it helps you.
Of course.
The funny thing, when my wife went through hers and we went out to the range, there was a lady there, and if you don't have a weapon, they'll give you a 22 to shoot. And they put a box from here to the door.
Yeah, it's really close. I know.
It's really close. And this woman could not hit the box from 10 feet. And everybody's looking at it. What in the heck? Is she shooting blanks? Because she literally could not hit the box 10 feet away.
Yeah.
And we're thinking, this is weird, but anyway, but it does help you. And I just, every so often I go to the range just so that once again, I'm comfortable. I'm not uptight.
You'll agree with me on this. It makes no sense to have a gun if A, you don't know how to use it, and 2, when a crisis happens, you're not willing to use it.
Right.
Because it can be taken from you and used to murder
against you. Right.
And I know women who that has happened to. They were killed using their own gun.
Wow.
Because they thought, well, I'll just point, but there's no way I'll fire. And they'll sense that.
Yeah, like they say, you never point a gun unless you're ready to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the classes are the beginning of that. And then the ongoing training you do just to make sure, you don't lose some of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, it is. And a good friend of ours, Roger Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah. He runs the concealed carry classes and he does a good job. I really enjoyed it. You go for the morning. It's only a Saturday morning. And then the afternoon you go to the range and shoot.
Well, I took one, I got free. It was after some school shooting. And legislator McCullough from Sapulpa wrote a bill saying that schools should be free to set their own policy on teachers carrying. And in fact, my debate class that I taught, a homeschool co-op class, we literally went to the Capitol after we debated his bill, in our class, and then we prepped him. And it passed like 11-2 out of committee that day. But this academy, actually, it's the U.S. Shooting Academy right next to the police academy.
Yeah.
The police.
That's I went out there one time.
But they said any teacher can take our class for free, but they didn't say us. But we're offering it on Sunday mornings. That's the only time we're willing to do free. So I skipped church that Sunday to take the class. And yeah, it's so I actually went through the concealed carry. I just didn't pay the hundreds of dollars to get the permit.
Hey, something we need to talk to is judges blocking or attempting to block the Trump policies. And it's just getting out of hand. It's crazy. The only good news is that I hope we're bleeding them dry. Their lawyers, because if we keep putting it out there, eventually those millions and billions that they're spending to try to stop. There's one right here. Federal judge now is blocking Trump's administration from ending Venezuelan and Haitian protected status, because you've got this. If you live in Venezuela, if you live in Haiti, if you live in certain countries, you automatically can come to America. You get automatic visa.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's how you bring terrorists.
Well, they emptied their prisons.
Right.
Venezuela
right.
Sent them here.
So prisons is another one.
Right.
The terror threat is real, but then, bring all the people from Afghanistan, for example, home of the Taliban. So how do we know which may or may not have been Taliban? Okay. Yeah. So we need to vet. You've got to vet the people coming in. Democrats, and it's, I used to not know. I thought the strategy would be to put people all over the South and Southwest, okay, because there was such a domination of conservatives in the red states, as we call them, okay? But they were sending them all to California, to New York, to Minnesota, Illinois, all these states. And I was saying, why? Well, as we see with Gavin Newsom and others, they're trying to increase their representation in Congress by adding to, so you just got, it would be harder to do it if we filter them throughout the country. And so what they're doing is basically spiking the numbers in the states so that of Democrats, and that they'll end up getting more seats. California, I think, is trying to get 5 more legislative seats, and that's because of their population. Although, if someone did a real census with all the people that have left California, they should really be losing.
Well, see, that's just it. What they're trying to do in California, they still want to take the numbers from 2020.
Right.
But they want to redraw the maps, gerrymandering. to potentially swing some districts, 5 more. They think they could swing to Democrat held. But what's going on separately from that, you're talking about, even though an illegal cannot vote, they can be counted.
Which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. So that all of a sudden, Nancy Pelosi's seat right now may have 500,000 voters. Well, even if 10,000 voters leave to Texas, but we send 10,000 illegals there. See, then all of a sudden she's still representing the same amount, but she's more and more of a representation of people who cannot vote.
Right. Which is silly. How do you, because that basically is an invasion, and you're giving the vote and the determination for your nation's future to people that aren't even from here. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them, and the balkanization of our country is really bad because, you've got Hispanics that are going to be more leaning towards things that favor with them. You got, as we see up in Minneapolis area in Minnesota, you got Somalis that have basically essentially taken over a whole part of the state. And if you get enough, they can rule the entire state. Swing the state. That is what's happened. Exactly. And we've got to somehow take that away. And that's why we've got to figure out a way to not count these people in our census. Just think of all of the Syrians, Afghanis that we flew in. Okay. Right. But here's the thing. It was Somalia, for instance. They've been here now just about 10 years. Okay. I think more, but yeah. Okay. How many children have been born to those Somalis that come with it automatic American citizenship, birthright, and right to vote here in another 8 years? Mm-hmm. So they're counting their time. I want to go back to one of the first things you said about the judges. I think a lot of these lawsuits are ideologically motivated by ACLU type lawyers who are volunteering their time. That's their part in the battle. So I don't think we're going to milk them dry. Well, no. Well, yeah, but lawsuits are not cheap. Even besides the lawyer costs. Yeah, there's the process costs, and I get that. Those are real. And I think that the Soros types of the world are willing to do that. And the money they're paying the judges under the table. Oh, he said it. He said it. Yeah. So but like I said, and you can't, and see, even to keep the ACLU free lawyers, they're not really free. They're being paid a salary by the ACLU. I know a lot of people here in Oklahoma have been ACLU lawyers, not getting paid. Not getting paid at all. It's their activism. Right, but how do they survive? Oh, they do other business where they do billing. I know what. I see what you're saying. She was the campaign manager for your opponent. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking about. Right, but okay, yeah. But those people, if they're busy with another area where they've got to make money, they can't give the full time. You're right. to these actions. So if you want, for example, cases between the appellate court, in front of the district court, the Supreme Court, the time involved, you cannot volunteer that and not get paid something, because it takes so much time and energy and the research and the expert testimony and everything you got to spend. So like I said, I think the Doge audits and shutting down USAID are probably going to be very effective. I mean, have you seen ANIFA do anything this summer? Why? The funding dried up. Right. Well, look at Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. This is the shootings, the murders are down almost to zero. Yeah. It was one of the murder capitals. I know. The thugs are having to move to Chicago. Yeah, and they're fighting. We do have to talk about that. Okay. You notice Trump was hinting he's going to Chicago. He didn't go.
You know why? I think there's a good point there. A governor has to request it. I think that's a constitutional thing that Trump would not win. And so he is going to red states that have very blue cities. And there's plenty of them. New Orleans. We can go to St. Louis. St. Louis is pretty bad. New Orleans, very bad. Houston. I mean, those are all some pretty dangerous blue cities.
But the most dangerous part of St. Louis is East St. Louis, which is in Illinois.
But that's a much smaller community than the Missouri part.
Yeah, but that's where the big St. Louis crime comes from, East St. Louis. So
it is.
So again, you got that situation. But well, I don't understand why people want to destroy a nation.
Yeah.
And the other part of it is those who we call them useful idiots, the useful idiots that are letting them do it.
Yeah.
And they think that they're so morally superior to everybody else that this is right to do this. And, and they just don't know. They don't know that they're committing suicide.
Eddie, I want to say something. You and I perceive things probably far better politically than the average person. But it's really important, whether it's somebody, your client or my client. Yesterday, I was at a person's house. I don't know of him being particularly political, but I asked him about some things, particularly on this issue. And he has no desire to get into politics, but he said this. He said, these stupid governors and mayors are essentially arguing that they want to keep their criminals out on the streets.
Yeah.
And so when you hear the less informed person just succinctly make that statement, you're winning. And it's really important, Eddie, for you and I and all you people out here who really want to advance causes, listen to the language of the common person who doesn't know a whole lot. Find out how it's coming across to them. Because I think Trump is going to win this hands down. And I think he's going to win the midterm because of the crime issue. I think we're going to retain Congress, both houses, because of the crime issue.
Yeah, and it's working. Even like Washington, D.C.
Right. And I think he would do well. I mentioned New Orleans, Houston, St. Louis, Memphis.
Yeah, Memphis is
one, And I think there's a number of those. Atlanta.
Georgia.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, we've got some real problems. And I come on to Tulsa. Monroe won't, welcome you, but we will.
That's something we need to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. Earlier I mentioned, and you hadn't heard this, but basically the Governor Kevin Stitt has authorized the Highway Patrol, the state Highway Patrol, to come in and clear out these homeless encampments.
Okay, I got to set this up just real quick. Monroe complained that Governor Stitt's withholding Highway Patrol assets from the city of Tulsa, and he complained about it. So what has Stitt done to restore Highway Patrol presence back to Tulsa?
To clear out the homeless camp. But yet Monroe is complaining. He says, no, we're working on it and will be taken care of by 2030.
Oh, 5
no
years.
joke. This is,
oh my God.
Yeah. And so, Governor Stitt says, I'm sorry, but we don't want to wait 5 years.
No.
And so there's pictures in the Tulsa World and other places of Highway Patrol going into tearing up these homeless camps.
You see all these signs out in the county that say, fines for dumping, for littering,
right,
and that. They are littering.
They're littering. Now he can, this is what's interesting, okay? The Highway Patrol is only removing them and can only remove them from state
highway right of way.
Well, and parks or property, state property, let's put it that way, right away. Right. So that would say they can, let me finish before, they could move to private areas. The problem is there's no private citizens that want them on there tearing up and destroying their own property.
I'm warning you.
Or if they do, then okay, it's on you.
Okay. Zuccotti Park, next to the New York Stock Exchange, was where Occupy Wall Street encampment was. Because it was a privately held park, the cops could not kick them out.
Right. Seattle's another one.
Okay. You know what happened right after that Occupy Wall Street? A guy named George Kaiser built Guthrie Green downtown. And then he got a bunch of his friends to build the Gathering Place, 2 private parks.
Right.
I'm saying.
Well, but here's what I'm saying. You're welcome, George. You're welcome. If you want the homeless to encamp at Guthrie Green, you want the homeless to encamp at the Gathering, to gather at the Gathering Place, you're welcome. But I guarantee you, it will destroy the Gathering Place. It will destroy Guthrie Green. So somehow George is going to figure a way to get them out of those places because it will ruin the things that he says but I mean, if he wants to let them take over Guthrie or the Gathering Place in particular, there's lots of room.
Yeah.
He could house every homeless person in the city of Tulsa right there at the Gathering Place. And they'd have a wonderful scenic community there.
Yeah.
But nobody else is going to go anymore.
Yeah.
So
I want to declare unofficially, I don't have the right to do this, but the new honorary chairman of the Brent Van Norman for Mayor campaign is Monroe Nichols. Because he is literally making his case for why we need a good conservative Republican mayor.
Well, yeah. But, though, what's her name may jump back into it for another shot at it.
Karen Keith.
Karen Keith,
yeah.
To show, see, you made a mistake.
Yeah.
So if you can't bring yourself to vote for a Democrat, for a Republican, vote for me. I can see that, somebody using that. But I think everyone is awakening to the fact that he's Cassie's boy. Cassie Taylor, our former.
Yeah, she used to be a staffer for Kathy Taylor.
He did, right. And she's been behind him. The guy is he's the nicest guy you'll ever meet. I have nothing to say.
Personal skills are great.
You and I both had great interaction with him. But when it comes to policy and public service, he's seriously lacking. He's
owned by the far left,
right?
The woke left and stuff.
Here, let me tell you. Here's what's funny though.
Yeah.
Okay, I went to the when I was running last year. I came before the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes,
and I essentially was thrown out or invited to leave early.
Don't call us, we'll call you.
Yeah, because of the homeless situation. Because, I said that we need to stop feeding the homeless because it will attract more when we do this. But now that the governor is kicking all of these people out of the public areas, all of a sudden the head of the Chamber of Commerce, same guy I think that kicked me out, essentially is now championing, telling the governor, good going, and I'm thinking, you hypocrites. It just baffles me how these people operate.
Oh yeah.
Whatever seems good for the moment.
They're weasels.
A year later, they've seen that the homeless situation is not so good.
Right.
And a promise of clearing it in 5 years isn't going to make people happy, not the people whose neighborhoods that they are encroaching upon. And so all of a sudden it's going the other way. And I don't know why in the world the best thing that Monroe Nichols could do would be to say, go for it, Governor.
Yeah.
Clear him out. That way he could come back and say, I'm not even mayor or thinking about running for it, but the easiest thing to do is say, well, personally, I'm opposed to it. I think we could handle this in 5 years, but we don't have any authority. That's the governor's deal.
Yeah.
Blame the governor, but leave it. But no, he's trying to pick a fight that he shouldn't and can't win.
Yeah.
And it's just weird.
By the way, on this gathering place, when it first started, they had all these blooming, quote, wild flowers, right?
That have been eaten up now.
It's all weeds.
Yeah, sure. The place it's a jungle.
And I'm telling you, folks, if I could get cited for not mowing my lawn, a citation and the fee to have somebody come.
It's natural prairie grass. And it's an endangered herb. It's an endangered herb. We can't touch it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, then fine, just declare the ordinance to be null and void for all of us. But there's things they let their own do, but they don't let us lowly citizens do.
There needs to be a documentary. The Earth Strikes Back.
Yeah. Like I watch, and it's not just the city buses, but even the school buses will park in the middle of an intersection to let people out.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
In the middle of an intersection.
My only entrance into my subdivision gets blocked.
That's weird. I haven't seen that.
If I did that, I'd get a citation.
I guess that's those West Tulsa hicks that just don't know any better parking in.
I'm not in West Tulsa.
Well, you are almost not quite. You're what, a freeway away? Yeah.
I'm right by Metro Christian Academy.
Right.
But the city buses, they don't stay in their lane. I honked at one, he honked back at me. He's like, you know what? That's your problem. If you can't drive in that lane safely, and then they'll park right on the street, back up traffic. And the problem with my part of town, 61st, I'm 67th in Peoria, is a bus stop. Mm-hmm. It stops because there's only single lanes. And the city lets their own do it, but they won't let anybody else.
Right.
And I just think that now that you live in you are a subject to the queen and her minions, and her allies, and you don't count as much as the state. The state's supreme over you, or the city in this case.
Here's a good one for us.
Yeah.
The gun lobby groups are defending the Second Amendment rights as DOJ is weighing trans firearm limits. Do you get that? In other words, transvestites, essentially, transsexuals. Mm-hmm. The DOJ is weighing whether or not transsexuals should have the right to bear arms. To me, it's a very easy question to answer.
Okay, the current law doesn't just mean mental illness, but you have to be court adjudicated in a civil commitment kind of thing. That means if you go to mental hospital voluntarily for your crisis, you don't lose your constitutional rights. If they have to enforce a court order, then you do. And so I don't think Trump's going to be able to get beyond that. What he's looking for is the psychiatric community to once again see this gender
as a mental disorder
thing. Yes, as a psychological illness.
Right. Oh no, I know, because what I'm saying is you cannot just single out a group of people and say you can't have it. Be saying if you're black or you're Hispanic, you're female, you're this or you're that.
Yeah,
you really can't do that.
Yeah, it's the therapies that they're subjecting these people to, which are exacerbating, especially the hormone therapies.
Now, see, there's a way they might be able to do it. Say, if you have received or are receiving these particular drugs, then that bars you from it. It would be like, somebody, if you're basically needing heroin or morphine or whatever,
Yeah, because currently that's what they do. Are you taking a street drug?
Right.
Then you can't get a gun.
Right. You can't
from a federal
so
license.
They could possibly do it, and not even street drugs. Certain pharmaceutical prescription drugs.
That's what I'm saying. The hormone therapies.
Right.
I mean, if you like the Nashville Christian School, young woman, if she was actually getting testosterone not old man testosterone treatments like some of us are very familiar with.
You all.
Okay, but the kind of treatments they give to people in their prime to literally cause a young woman's breasts to shrink and she can start growing a beard and all those things. It messes with your brain.
Yeah.
And a young woman is not wired mentally for that.
Yep.
Now, we had the different situation with the Minneapolis shooter. Young man, and I think it's
to be a woman.
The counseling, the therapies, things like that can be just as damaging, brainwashing, and just stirring up the angst, stirring up the problems.
Hey, there are 3 active tuberculosis cases up in Maine.
I heard that.
Yeah, and apparently, TB is a very serious drug, and they quit doing the TB tests many years ago. But I guarantee you, I'll tell you where they came from. These flights of immigrants coming in.
Yes.
See, in Germany, I remember we had a kid from Uganda come, a couple of them, and they sent him back home because he tested positive for tuberculosis.
Yeah.
And so, it's like our government, a certain segment of government, they've lost their minds because they have put certain social theories and social policy above the welfare of the citizenry.
Yeah.
And that is not going to bode well for the future of this country.
Yeah.
And so, and again, the biggest problem is the balkanization. Like I said, El Salvadorans can't stand Mexicans. Mexicans, I assume, can't stand El Salvadorans. Then you got the Guatemalans, then you got the South Americans who, and even what's funny, even the Mexican people from Mexico City, okay, they don't like border Mexicans. I went and had a long talk with him, and he was just, I mean, I've never heard Americans say as disparaging things about people from Mexico as this guy from Mexico did. So, in fact, I had a client one time, and he was from El Salvador. And he came into my office. It was early in the morning, and he had been sleeping out in his car because he had a night shift. And so he needed to see me. He was waiting for the office to open. So I come in. And so he's sitting, and I had been talking to him about having his kids transfer to Union.
Yeah.
From East Central.
Yeah, I remember this.
And I was saying, because they're soccer players, and one actually ended up being All-State. He was All-State, in fact, Player of the Year. But anyway, when he was because he did end up. But I remember me telling him he needs to transfer his kids, or he should transfer them. Mainly, my thinking was because of the soccer skill to get them over there. And he looks, he says, "Yeah, Eddie, I got to do something. There's nothing in East Central but niggers and Mexicans." And he's talking to me.
And he's from where?
El Salvador.
Oh!
and I just sat there and I just put my head down and just started laughing because to him, niggers and Mexicans are the same. There's no difference between it. In other words, what he was saying, he didn't like either one of them.
Yeah.
And yet here he is buying insurance from me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which again testifies to the fact that as the late Robert Byrd so eloquently put it, niggers aren't always colored people.
Oh, there you go.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do know.
Niggers aren't always colored people. And so anyway, this was what he was saying. This is basically, to him, they were Mexican.
Yeah. Hey, I got an update.
Oh my goodness. I never forget that as long as I live.
I got an update for you.
Uh-oh.
The most exciting game right now, college football, is on the CW network. It is Baylor at SMU.
Right. His Baylor brought it back.
Baylor at halftime is just barely behind him, 21
to
24. And yeah, all 21 points Baylor scored in the second quarter. They have more total yards, almost maybe 5% more total yards than SMU. They have 55% more first downs and about a third of the penalty yards. So Baylor's playing a much better game.
Yeah. Hey, what about the Texas Tech score? Bring us up to that.
Yeah, I'll have to hold that.
The game that really counts.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm sure. I mean, it was a blowout. What was it, 48? Yeah, you just want your Nick.
I'm just messing with you.
But yeah, so that's to me, that's the game right now. And of course,
yeah, it sounds like
it's still 48-0 Texas Tech. They just started third quarter.
Oh, just started third quarter. Yeah. Penn State leads Florida International 13-0.
Yeah.
Indiana over Kennesaw State 27. And let me see if Iowa State is still leading Iowa at halftime, 13-10.
Yeah.
As you said, Illinois and Duke. Illinois is number 11, and they're only ahead of Duke, 14-13.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be a big shocker there.
Yeah.
And like you said, 24-21. Florida State, that one, they're in the third quarter. It's 56-0 now against whoever they're playing, some school of the blind.
I want a prediction from you.
Okay.
Our Oklahoma State Cowboys are having to travel to Oregon. How big a blowout is that going to be?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Gundy's able to get them fired up enough. You got to remember, we're not Alcorn State.
Right.
OSU not Alcorn State.
And Oregon lost. Dylan Gabriel went to the draft.
Right.
So he's not
and
there.
And they probably lost a few other people.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say maybe a 14-point game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it might be another one of those surprises, represent.
Yeah. But usually
pistols firing. We got guns up and pistols firing,
the Chippewas of Eastern Michigan, that took down Oklahoma State a few years ago. Remember that? I mean, Oklahoma usually gets humiliated.
It was Central Michigan, wasn't it?
Maybe it was Central.
It was a bad call. The referees gave them.
But you know what? They were in bad enough shape to where that cost them the game too. You have to think about.
Well, yeah, but I hate that. It just made me so mad when that happened.
It does, but I'm saying Oklahoma State could use some good news.
Yeah.
They really could.
So, and we'll be looking for OU tonight. I think we should wrap it up. And
really quick. What do you make of this China get together? It seems like
with
India,
Kim Jong-un.
All of those. It seems like everybody who is not a fan of Trump decided to have their own convention.
Well, yeah, they're just trying to see. Here's the problem. They smell blood in the water.
Mm-hmm.
They see that the Democrats hate Trump, that Trump is unpopular in his own country. They've got a media that daily, hourly, minute by minute are attacking Donald Trump.
So this is a made-for-TV event.
So what do you do because what is Trump? What does Trump threaten to do with Russia?
Mm-hmm.
He's basically going to cut off India, who is selling their oil.
And India's hanging in there with this bunch.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So India has decided to go against their natural enemy, China.
Mm-hmm.
China and India have been fighting for years. So they're going against their natural enemy for the almighty yen or whatever ruble.
Yeah.
And so what they're doing, they're hoping that Russia, they can get enough money from Russia through their oil that it's going to counteract. And the reason they're doing it is because he's throwing these tariffs on them. Mm-hmm. He's saying, because Indian goods, they just throw tons of stuff at us. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got a friend here. They have a t-shirt business.
Yeah. The cotton industry.
Right. The cotton. And so they're able to bring in. Now they can't do that in Germany. In Germany, you got to pay 14% import tax on everything you bring in. Okay. So India's charging this, I think 30%, 35% to us for anything we ship over there, but we haven't been doing that to them.
Right.
And we're going to do it. So now, so what they're doing, they're, with the help of the Democrats, yes, you Democrats and all you never Trumpers are basically egging them on by your Trump hate, which is actually American hate. You hate your own country, really, because the reason we have tariffs is only because we're trying to tell them, you stop it. Mm-hmm. We're going to charge you what you charge us. If we're going to send something to you, I mean, it's got to be at the same amount as we charge you, which I don't know how in the heck we haven't done this in the past.
Yeah.
Everybody keeps wanting to say, tariffs don't work, tariffs don't work, tariffs don't work. But apparently they're working for the other countries that are using them against us. So how does that work? Anyway.
Yeah, it's like violence is bad when we hit back.
Right.
Yeah, their violence isn't a problem, but if we hit back,
exactly.
That's bad.
If we were to attack Palestine, or Israel responds after that Day of Terror, what was September 7th? October 7th.
Yep.
October 7th. October 7th, nothing to see here.
Yep.
But Israel goes back and retaliates to basically all Hamas had to do is give all of the people back. If they have given the people back 2 years ago, it would be over. It would be over. But no, they're going to sit there, dig in, waiting to play this political game to get the world on their side, the anti-Israel side.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that really, really is messed up. And it's the same with this whole trade deal.
Yeah.
If America backed Trump, say, I guarantee you India wouldn't even speak the name of Vladimir Putin or what's his name in China? Xi. Yeah. So it's the enemy within that is our greatest enemy.
Yeah.
That's really the only true enemy that we have in the world. It's not Russia. It's not China. It's not Europe. It's the enemy within. And I hate to say it, it's led by the Democrat Party.
Yeah. I got to go back to one more thing on this Trump cleaning up the crime in the cities. There's something we've often complained the Democrats do. They don't want to fix a problem. They want to use it for votes, keep the issue alive, right? Okay. I think you're off, by the way.
I am.
There you go. Well, anyway, so here's my thought. I don't think Trump is going to go into Chicago at all. I think he's going to clean up cities where he's invited in. And then he's going to always have that contrast of Chicago.
Right, exactly. It will make the people of Chicago see, why are we number one in crime in the country?
The whole world's going to see.
Well, yeah. Why has D.C., Fort Worth, Texas, what are some of the Memphis, Tennessee, Atlanta? Why all of a sudden has the crime dropped in those countries, but it's continuing to grow in our city? Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah, and Detroit would be another one, Minneapolis, another one. And then I want to just get into this New York mayor's race.
Oh, yeah.
So Eric Adams
dropped out.
Yeah, well, has he officially? Okay,
I'm pretty sure he's dropped out. He just hasn't. They're talking about him joining the Trump administration.
Right. So evidently he was offered an alternative, and Trump, I think, had some. He explained it pretty well. He says, look, when nobody's got a majority of the support.
Right.
And if you're number two, but you can get number three, number four, to come to you, you'll likely win.
Yeah. Well, see, let me just throw this out. Sean Hannity's good friend, Eric Sliwa.
Yes.
He has no business being in there.
Sliwa,
He doesn't have a chance on earth to win. So he should see it as a victory that he got Mayor Adams out of there. Now, the problem is the alternative is not much better than the poison.
If you lived in New York,
you're talking about, no, but I'm talking about Como.
Yeah.
So, Como is maybe one notch above Mandani.
Right. But I'm saying when they filed for office, there was Cuomo had not filed as an independent, nor had Eric Adams.
Right.
They had a second open date for filing after the primaries were over. So you had Sliwa won the Republican nomination.
Right.
Who else did the Republicans have? Because all these other guys were in the Democrat primary.
Right. Sure. No.
So his initial candidacy, I don't have a problem with.
I think Eric Adams was an independent. I think he ran because the Democrat Party.
That you're right.
Yeah, because they abandoned him way back, so he was already an independent. But then what's his name lost. Cuomo lost, and then he decided, well, I'm going to come back in as an independent.
See, they used to have that here in Oklahoma. In the state legislature, got rid of it. You had to declare everything before there was any.
Well, sure, it should be. You don't get do-overs.
Yeah, because I remember in '86, Terry Young was such an unpopular mayor that a businessman, a sign company owner, Tom Quinn, challenged him in the Democrat Party and defeated him. And so this was when we were under a city commission. Patty Eaton, our water and sewer commissioner, then filed to run as an independent. Still lost to Dick Crawford. So we had that Republican. He was
we're off in the weeds now. Let's
right
back.
But we had this same kind of thing that New York still has.
Right.
And we got rid of it. And I kind of think, we were right to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because you have this sore loser independence in there.
Exactly.
So here's what I think is going to happen here. Conservatives, especially those people who lost loved ones in nursing homes, there's no way they're going to vote for Cuomo. It's going to be a tough deal.
Well, if they're not going to vote for Cuomo, then Mandani will win.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other way around it. I mean, I've watched pundit after pundit, statisticians, all look at it, and they all say that the only way to beat Mandani is if these other guys drop out. And then Como will get all consolidated. It'll because Mandani right now he's holding at 45% or something like that. And when you split all the other vote, because I think they have a winner takes all. I don't think it has to be a plurality in New York City. I don't think
not a majority, a plurality can win. Yeah,
right.
Plurality means Bill Clinton never got a majority,
right?
Because you had Ross Perot in there,
right? Exactly.
Right? So, I don't think you're going to see Trump overtly endorsing, because I think it's a kiss of death for him to endorse Andrew Cuomo.
Oh yeah.
Right.
He doesn't have to, but by asking the others to step out, he's endorsing.
I think, and so I think the two have talked privately, and I think it's going to be private, and I think Trump has secured certain, commitments from Andrew Cuomo.
Right, and he's given certain commitments to others for stepping out.
Yeah, Adams, he's offered a federal job.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it's beautiful what you're seeing here, whether it's Adams or Blagojevich up in Illinois. You're seeing a lot of people say, I'm still a Democrat, but Blagojevich says I'm a Trumpocrat.
Right.
And I listened to Blagojevich says, I really would like to see my Democrat Party return to supporting the working people. and the causes of the working people. And because Trump has pretty much moved in and said, I support the blue collar worker.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
Anyway, I just wanted to revisit that some more. I think it's going to be a fun day watching football the rest of the day.
Well, then let's get out of here and watch it.
All right.
Hey, thank you for watching, and we will talk to you, Lord willing, next week, and the creek don't dry.